debt here.
It's camouflage.
No, what I'm saying is all the debt work we would do up here,
Yeah.
over there on the Wolf is undercover because of Arctic conditions.
Right, right.
Hey guys, we're gonna go on board ship and go down to the quarterdeck where they do their brief and head walk through. Okay? So if you're wondering what these boats are, I'll tell you what we're waiting. They're called hammerheads. What we use them for on the big ships, we launch them, and generally they're a one-time thing. We don't recover them. And what we use them for is on our guns. We'll track them, and or missiles or guns or whatever, and we'll track them and shoot at them. And so we can get a realistic scope of what we're shooting if it was in real-time situation. And how they run without a person out there, it's remote control. So a person's in the operations room and they're controlling them.
It's a great big toy. That's cool.
Yeah, there's cameras on there. All that's in there is fuel and the engine really. So we launch it, the bosuns will launch it, and then the operators will maneuver them. They're about $60,000 each, but they're generally a one and done. Cool. Are you our tour guide?
I am, yes. Already doing this thing.
And this is Chief Whisk.
Okay.
And this is a mixture of the cadets from Campbell River, from Harry Dewolf, and from Parksville. I don't know. I know it's 298.
296 is final.
That's Squaddle? Is it? There you go. I didn't know the name.
Easy to remember.
I know her. These are the COs of the two units. So I know it's supposed to be 25 to 30 of us, but it worked out that, you know, the kids thought whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I'll start. So the ambulance coming aboard, so we'll have to switch our manuals in a second, unless we see this thing, so call me on that time. So that's going to be happening in the middle of the group. So yeah, I'm Lieutenant Vincent Alcé. I'm an engineering officer on the ship. Basically, I'll take you around, show you the different features of the ship. If you have any questions at any time, just let me know. You can ask at the time. Anything that comes to mind that pops up, feel free to do so. I'll try to answer as best as I can. Other than that, yeah, we pretty much have free reign, so if there's anything specifically about the ship that you would like to see, let me know. We can go and see it. There's only very specific spaces I would take you there because there's nothing interesting to see, and we're not allowed in. So we'll most likely go to the bridge first, which is usually last night. So we'll do the opposite, we'll work our way down and up. So we'll go visit the engine rooms, then go up and visit the spaces, living spaces, work spaces, the hangar, and then finish up at the beach. Cool. Right now we're in the quarterdeck. So we have a 20-ton crane that we can use to move stuff around. So containers, We've got the hammerheads on the top of the containers, are sort of mobile remote control targets. And then abaft we have the landing craft. Not from drinking or anything, I give a lot of tours this week. Yeah, so the ship has 5 boats. Okay, so we've got 2 lifeboats, the big orange submarine looking things on the quarter deck, on the near the flight deck. We'll go see them in a bit. And I've got 2 MRBs, multi-role rescue boats, or RIBs, rigid inflatable, rigid hull inflatable boat. And we've got a landing craft here, the all-aluminum small boat. So the landing craft can carry up to 4 tons, so almost 8,000 pounds, or a bit more than 8,000 pounds of stuff. That includes people. Okay, so the landing craft sits on the cradle that's right here, behind it here, and we'll secure it when we're at sea with ratchet straps, and when we need it, we'll use the 20-ton crane to move it about, hoist it, and then bring it back and lower it in the water astern the ship. And then we have a jumping ladder. We could go down and get into the landing craft, and that's the tool we used when we did the northern part of our trip to go to the villages, because most of them don't have jetties, constructed jetties. It's just beaches, and we use the landing craft to ferry back and forth from the ship to the shore.
So your landing craft, is it only bosun's landing, or since you're a small ship
Yes.
with the crew?
No, it's bosun's only. I don't know if there's a course for it, but it takes some practice to get smooth, and usually the boat operators are the ones that are driving the landing craft. I don't think there's a specific course for it, but
Happy at the story.
yeah, I haven't mentioned it. If you want to take pictures, there's no restrictions. Take pictures of whatever you want, myself included. It's fine. So whatever throughout the ship, if you want to take pictures, or obviously that's no problem.
Tell us about this thing. What's that about?
Oh, the Billy Pew. So you see there's steps here. So there's 4 locations where people can climb aboard, and this is used by the crane to hoist people either on the ice or on a jetty if we have to, or in some other ship. So we've used that on the ice when we did the ice trials in February. We went up and tried the ship out in ice. I'll get your question. And so we use that to move people and material around, so that we can get them on the ice and back on the ship.
Great. Have you been on it before?
Never. And I mean, the original billet pew that's on the CPF, you would use for like casualty, like let's say someone falls into the water, person overboard, you could lower it and have someone, come in and you can take them back on the ship. But yeah, I've seen it in action a bunch of times.
So you stand there and then do you hook in with one of those?
Yeah, you have like a harness.
Yeah.
So you hook yourself up, you hold on to and then these pockets at the bottom here are for equipment.
Yeah.
If you have like bags or tools, you can put them here, unload it, and then bring it back. When we're in ice, the ship sort of moves at the same speed of the ice, so there's not much of a difference. But you still have to be careful and not move faster or slower than the ice, because if you put that down, then you'll have weird angles. Go ahead.
Regarding taking pictures, some places
regarding taking pictures, there will be some areas of note where we will not be able.
I'll let you know if there is. Right now, I don't think so. We're good to go. There's not much on the ship that's like, ooh, we gotta keep it a secret. This is a patrol ship, right? So it's not a ship that's, the main mission of the ship is not to fight other ships. It's more to have a presence and show other countries and Canadians that the Navy is present in either the northern section of our country, the Arctic, or patrolling out in the back. I'll tell you a little bit more about the trip that we did. So we left Halifax on the 3rd of August, and we went up to, did some training. We went up to Iqaluit, but we didn't really stop there, only to unload people. Iqaluit in the Nunavut territory. Then we went to New Greenland to refuel, which was beautiful. We couldn't get off the ship because of COVID, but it was still a very nice place to visit. After that, we left Nuuk, headed on to Pond Inlet, which is a community of about, if I remember correctly, 1,600 people. So we stayed there for a day or two, trying to get to know the community a bit better. We did a barbecue for them and had some events with the leaders there. And we did that 4 more times with 4 different communities. So Pond Inlet, Grise Fjord on Ellesmere Island, so very high up north. We did Arctic Bay, Kugluktuk, and Cambridge Bay, and then Kugluktuk. If you don't know where any of these are, that's fine. I didn't know either, and this was one of the reasons for the trip, right? To go see what it's like up there and experience it for the first time, and for the people that live there to see us for the first time. After that, we went to Alaska and kept from your point of view, circumnavigating in the Bering Strait, Alaska, and we picked up the Admiral in Prince Rupert, made our way down this very nice, I want to say channel, but just a natural channel, all the way to Vancouver in October, stayed there a few days, and then we came here in Victoria Esquimalt on the 4th, and we ended up, on the 3rd, ended up here on the 4th of October, and then we've been here ever since. The next part of the trip, we're heading down south to do what's called Operation Carib, Carib. So it's basically a drug interdiction mission that we run with the United States Coast Guard. So we'll bring a Coast Guard team, like a boarding party, like a SWAT team, but that goes into the ship, the ribs, and goes and intercepts drug vessels there in that region. So we've got the Pacific, and then we'll go through the Panama Canal and go on the Atlantic side, and then all that to come back home 16 December in Halifax. So that's where the ship's stationed, Halifax, Nova Scotia, that's where I live. And there's currently a second ship called HMCS Margaret Brooke that's in Halifax. They're currently building up in the sense that the ship's been delivered to the Navy, but they're doing the final preparations to get ready to move on into their program and get more and more ready for the next mission. So that's coming in this year. The third ship, which will be the first West Coast ship, should be delivered sometime 2022, the next year. So before working on this ship, I was posted to the project management office that works at Irving Shipbuilding, the company building the ship. So I worked there for a year and a half, and I helped with I had maybe 10 or 12 inspectors working for me, doing inspections on the ship, making sure it met standards. So.
Is most of the crew from Halifax?
So I'd say yes. there's a few reservists, so they're from anywhere in Canada basically. But I'd say 85% are from like the Red Force, really in Halifax, like that. So that's about it. Any questions? Right on. So I'll move on. We're outside. It's a bit gray. We'll move on inside. I'll show you where I work, where my mechanics and electricians work as well, and we'll go see a few engine spaces, where we eat, and all that. And like I said, we'll finish up on the bridge because then we'll have a lot of time to see it. It's a nice view. A view you won't get to see for a while because we're almost one deck higher up than the CPF bridge. So you'll see it's a nice vintage. So yeah, we'll make our way this way. Yeah. So that's where we keep the UTVs. So don't be afraid to come inside spaces, or if I'm there, you're good to go. Yes?
Where was the ship built, sir?
Say again?
Where was this ship built, sir?
So in Halifax, we have the dockyard, a bit similar to here. It's shaped very differently because it's only on the one side of the harbor. And just north of the dockyard is Irving Shipbuilding. And it's like, they've got a big, huge building where you can build a ship inside, and then they take it out and they have it stand outside for a bit, then they put it in the water. It's right next to our dockyard in Halifax. So that's where it was built. So we're in the MCR, Machinery Control Room. At sea, the MCR on most Navy ships is a crew, so you'd have a watchkeeper, a senior watchkeeper, and a junior watchkeeper looking at the consoles. On this ship, because it's new and it's got a lot of computer controls, there's really no need to have anybody looking at the console to make sure everything's working correctly. So we do have a watchkeeper and a rounds person that works on the engines and all the other systems to make sure that everything's running smoothly. But they're not tied down to the seats, and they don't have to stay here at all times. So depending on how their watch is going, yeah, maybe they'll sit in front of the console, but most of the time, like I said, if they want to go grab a coffee, some little snack to eat, that's fine, there's no issue. If an alarm does come in, I'll show you in the next, where I work, my office, we have a big screen that shows the alarms, and then we're able to see it. And because everybody's carrying a radio, or almost everybody that's working is carrying a radio, we're able to call down and say, yeah, there's this issue, let's go look into it. So from here, a lot of decisions are made if we're in a damage control scenario. So for example, if there was a fire on the ship, you'd have your expert in electrical and mechanical systems that would be here, and then they'd be able to assign
we have one of those
workers and say like, okay, you gotta go close this breaker so that there's not any more damage, or if you close that breaker, we're able to fight a fire inside that space. So that's where a bit of the coordination in terms of machinery gets done. Lots of optimization. Every system, like for example, to produce water, right? So we have a reverse osmosis system. It takes salt water and transforms it into fresh water by very high pressure. And so that system is represented in pages inside the computer. And then I can bring it up and I can see the rod, a graphic of it, see if it's running or not, if there's an alarm and all that. All the systems are like that. So all the engines, all the plumbing stuff, electrical, I can all see it from the two computers here. The system is spread throughout the ship, so I can take a laptop, and if I wanted to, I could watch it from a cabin I don't necessarily have to be here, but that's where we do most. That's the centralized sort of compartment for mechanical stuff. Any questions? Right on. Let's move on. A game wall, and so whenever something funny happens or people are distraught, we can make a joke about it and then post it on the wall. So yeah, so that's our office. Computers. Basically, there's no usually you'd have the officers eating with the officers and the duels eating together and the mass sitters and below eating together. So we all eat in the same spot, and yeah, it works really well. There's enough seating for half the ship's company, so it's a fairly quick deal if everybody needs to eat. Obviously, you're going to feed everybody at the same 3 times a day, and it's quick to get everybody through when you have so many seats, right? So I didn't mention it, but the ship staff, the ship crew size is 65, but we got up to 87 bunks. So depending, we'll usually fill to about 78, 80. Or more if we can with the people that would take care of operating the ship, and then depending on what sort of mission we're going to be doing, we'll have people stay ashore and we'll bring in like scientists, for example. We have 3 scientists come in for that middle part, and then I have 3 less sailors to 7. So that's how we arrange it. Yes?
This is a much bigger eating space compared to what I've seen on other ships.
Okay. It is, yes. Okay, I thought you were going to ask a question. Sorry. I'm like, yes. I figured you were going to ask that. Yeah, it is, because you have to feed the whole ship company fairly quickly, right? So there's 80-some people, and yeah. So we got the galley. The cooks are working, so we can always take a quick peek, but on why we just that's sort of in the way. That's where we do the cooking. And we're lucky to have very good cooks, and the food is always very good. So standard ship looking cafeteria. If you want to go look at the door, see how inside the ground looks. But they're cooking food right now, so I wouldn't go inside. But feel free to go see what it looks like.
But sir, you have your own messes for like nighttime like movies, or do you all do that in the same place too?
Yeah, you got it. So like for lounging, the Chief and Teals is right there if you want to go take a look. Right here, feel free, yeah. Yeah, so what the group was asking is if you have different messes sort of by the bottom area, the after some range or something to do that.
Where did he say that the stuff comes in? What stuff?
Either side.
car might have 200, 250 horsepower. Well, this thing is like 20 cars. And this is like 20 cars. And this is like 20 cars. So it's like 80 cars of power. These engines drive a generator that creates electricity. That's it. You're not connected to gearbox. You're not connected to shafts. All they do is create electricity to run the rest of the ship and to power the motors, either for each propeller, one for each, or the valve
What do you guys usually run on? 1 or 2, or what's your daily sailing? Like how do you sail on? Like compared to a CPF?
Yeah.
What, like we run on, you know, like 1 PT plus 1, or like what you guys run?
So the best way to see it is it all goes into the same switch bolts. So I could run 1, 2, 3, or 4 engines depending on what I need. Yeah, so economical, most economical, I'll be on 1 engine. I'll go 7 knots, and it will take 1,100 liters of fuel a day, which is like 60-something liters per nautical mile. It's very fuel efficient. So we left New Greenland, and we went all the way to Dutch Harbor, Alaska, on 1 day, and we had 24% fuel coming in. We could have went to Hawaii. Yeah. We did. So, the engines provide the power in 6,600 volts. Okay? That's the voltage. The voltage in the house is 240. So it's a very high voltage. And we got voltage with all the lights, all the pumps, all the water, production, anything but all this shit is electricity. We'll get the power from the high voltage, power, we got new equipment, and you can now they're watching wrestling, but this sponsor,
Underestimating the strength of food drop. A lot of superstars do that.
6,000 a month. So wonderful too. That's smart.
I'll see you all on the bridge.
Oh, they have a cappuccino, they have a coffee machine in here. Lucky.
Well, I suppose so. Can't function without coffee.
Well, look, you guys stand here, get your picture by the Harry Dewolf. Your mat.
We'll just put that on our bias.
I have to call dibs on that, thank you.
No,
Who's met the man?
He was a current CO though. I met his nephew. Yeah, we met his nephew.
So, I don't want to interrupt the flight. Welcome to the bridge. Yeah, so nice big view up here. Basically you can see from one side to another. When the captain goes through ice, he'll usually close up at either the port or starboard station, and then he keeps control the ship speed. So when we're breaking ice, we're not trying to do it very fast. We're trying to do it at 3-4 knots, which is basically the speed that we have. So it's not very fast. And the reason is, if we hit some ice that is very strong or very tough, well, the ship might just stop. It's like hitting a wall, right? So you have to have a very conservative speed when you're breaking ice. So the seal can control the speed using the telegraphs over there. And you have someone sit down at the console and steer the ship using the steering wheel. That's the seal chair right there. You're more than welcome to sit on it if you want. That's where he sits most of the time that he's on the bridge. You have a nice vantage point from there, and he's a bit away from the action that the bridge watchkeeper has, the interaction with the helm person and the bridge watchkeeper. So he's able to, I won't say he has, he's sort of go further.
What's the natural watch of a bridge team made up of? Officer watch, second officer watch, an Avalon, quartermaster?
No Avalon, no city officer watch.
Okay, he stays up to go back?
No, you mean on the bridge?
Yeah, on the bridge.
So it's you've got a house person, you've got your officer of the watch, second officer of the watch, you've got NCII, who sits at the NFW there, and you've got a lookout. NCII can sit there or can sit inside our mini ops room.
And the ship's routine mates up here too? Make the daily pipes?
No, we don't have the officer of the watch.
Oh, officer watch does all pipes? Really?
Or he'll drive and
Second officer watch, okay, really?
yeah, or the lookout comes in, does it, second officer.
Yeah, anybody then, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a concept on these ships, right?
Yeah.
But
Less people make sense, like you have
like
to
half my Eagle Crash firefighters are Moses.
like you have to trust the systems now.
The seal flagged up is much bigger than hers. So I flagged up